My name is Aness. I work for United by Elgin in Middlesex, and I have been here for about 8 years now. And I've had a number of different roles since I've been here. I started out in fund development. I did that for 3 years. And then we actually had purchased Andar, and they wanted somebody with a fundraising background who kind of understood the tool to move into a full-time Andar position for a couple of years to really look at maximizing and how we were using it. So I did a 2-year secondment, which turned into a full-time long-term position. And then most recently last year, I became Associate Director of Communications. We are using just about every module that Andar offers. Obviously, Workplace ePledge is the one we use the most. We use it with all of our largest accounts. We use it in different ways. So some use the self-registration setup, some have us pre-populate everything for them. Others are using the single sign-on, SAML single sign-on. So we're using all of the different options, which is really nice. And for a number of our workplaces, we actually have all of those options set up. So even if they're using SAML and they can log in through their intranet, we also have a generic link set up for them so that if somebody's having problems, they can go to that link, self-register, and we're really working towards a no wrong point of entry with ePledge, which we're getting really positive feedback on. This year we did move our individual giving back to Andar through ePledge, which has also been really positive for us because we get that information in real time. So the second somebody goes on to give, we know. Likewise, if they go on, they start a pledge and they don't complete it, we know. So we can follow up with them, that day and say, hey, we noticed you went on, you started the pledge process, didn't finish it. Did you need any help? Did the system go down? Did you, have questions? Whereas when we were using another tool, we weren't getting that type of feedback. So we couldn't be as responsive to what our donors needed. We're also doing all of our events now through Andar. So we're getting a much broader picture of who's actually engaging with us, not to mention the data capture that we're getting, because now we control what questions are we asking each time somebody signs up for an event. We're capturing those emails, we're capturing their interests all in one place, and we can compare that against have they donated, have they attended other events. So it's just giving us a much broader picture. So I would say having all of those different pieces working together is kind of the real win. You have everything in one spot. We're such a small shop that really, even when you look at the time it takes to set up multiple tools, let alone take the time to get that information out of that secondary tool into your system of record, it's just wasteful. We don't have the manpower to be doing that and duplicating every single thing we do. So now we're able to do all of our events through Andar, we're able to do volunteer management through Andar, our online pledging, and we don't have to be piecemealing things together. When you set up the backbone of eCommunity, all of the different modules automatically are templated to match. So when we set that up for ePledge, now it's already accessible for iAccess and the volunteer module and the events module. We don't have to do it again. It carries over into every area of the tool that we're using online. So by setting it up once, it's now ready for the pledging, for our CB investment application, for those who don't know what CB is, our event registration. And again, it's all tied into Andar, our system of record. We don't have to duplicate things. So just by doing it right once, we have it available in every different platform that we might need to use online. The things I see a lot is people creating things as one-offs. So again, going back to the individual giving, I've talked to a number of United Ways who I know use Andar, and they're using these third-party platforms to do this or do that. And then when we get into the conversation about, well, why are you doing that? Because now you have to manually enter all that information into your system. Say, oh, well, we really wanted this function and Andar can't do that. And I'm like, sure it does. We use that. They're like, oh, well, you can't do perpetual pledging. Yes, we have that set up. Oh, well, we couldn't easily do monthly donations. Yes, we do that. So I think a lot of times people make an assumption because they don't have it set up that the system can't do it. So for me, the big thing is ask. We're doing things in our system that people have no idea are even possible, but we just ask the question. Here's what we'd really like to see. We'd really like an automated email to go to this person every time this happens. Yeah, we can do that. So yeah, just ask. I would say take a real look at what you're already using and what you're investing in. If you have multiple tools that you're using to get what you need, I would seriously consider just looking at getting the broader modules of Andar. I know even within United Way, there are a number who have the basic Andar, but they don't have the Executive Plus or they don't have the e-community modules. And I would say if you're spending money on these other tools anyway, it's definitely worth the investment and the time up front to just get it all in one place. And once it's set up, it's done. And there are all kinds of templates and there's sharing. If we're using this tool over here that nobody's really heard of, but it's 5 cents a transaction cheaper, that's great, but then as soon as I have a problem, who do I really ask? Whereas with Andar, there's enough of us using it, there's a support team that as soon as something happens, you can brainstorm with other people, whether it's other United Ways who are having the same issue or whether it's customer service coming up with a solution. It just makes sense to have it all in one place, all in one tool that other people are using. It has made our analysis of what we're doing much simpler. We at one point were sending emails via Constant Contact and then directing them to one of our other tools here, or they might bounce to Eventbrite and then back to our system. Now we can trace from the very beginning. So we send the email, who clicked on the email, who registered, how much did that person give this year. We can get a consistent report for each donor's experience, which really helps guide how we approach them in the future. This year, we've also implemented surveys into a lot of what we're doing. So a lot of our emails, even that we send out, our thank you email this year, has a survey on the back end asking people about their experience with us. And we're able to, have that all right on their record in Andar if they have a preference for getting phone calls as opposed to emails. If they're particularly interested in one of our impact areas, we have that at our fingertips instead of having to go and dig into multiple tools. So I think it'll really be over the next couple of years as we're consistently using this information that we're going to see that increase. One of our key focuses right now is donor retention because it's the leaky bucket and we're hearing it everywhere. People are losing donors right, left, and center. So we're really looking at how do we improve the donor experience? So from the first time that they click on one of our emails, what they see online, is it easy, is it intuitive, down to what do they like, what are their responses, and really tracking that so that year over year we can keep improving it and really start to cater our communications and donor experience to the individual.